Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi. Jack Roeser and I are speaking to Andy Shaw today from the Better Government Association, and we are speaking to sticker shock now. There is a fantastic article on the website, and it's called Sticker Shock. Now, Andy, speak to this and how our state polls with pension, our problem with pensions. That's what this sticker shock article
Right.
is
Well, this
about.
is, as I think I was saying, it's a little bit of a slippery slope for us on pensions because we don't want to get involved in a fight between business and labor about what the size of individual pensions for regular workers are. We decided.
Andy,
you
go ahead, but I sure differ there.
Well, you should differ because you come from a different place on this.
Yeah.
But I think my point of view as a good government group is pension abuse is what I see as our first target. And we thought to ourselves, we have a class of individuals, politicians, who created the pension mess by overpromising and then under-delivering so that we have an $80 billion unfunded pension liability in Illinois. We thought to ourselves, okay, the politicians who created the mess, what do their pensions look like? So with the help of Bill from your staff, we took a look at the pensions of Bill Zettler, retired public officials, and we found that 27 retired elected officials, many of whose names you know, Don Netsch, Jim Thompson, Jim Edgar, and others, get more than $100,000 a year in pensions. 28 former elected officials have collected more than $1 million in pensions. Look, we're not saying people don't deserve pensions, but when public officials are making pensions that are 40% higher than what I'm going to get after all those years at ABC, then you start to say, what's going on? Well, here's what's going on. We should consider capping pensions. In other words, at a certain income level, you no longer have pension eligibility. So the $250,000 a year school superintendent wouldn't be getting a $225,000 a year pension. It'd be $80,000. What we found in
sticker shock. And the other abuse that's built into that is they start getting these obscenely high pensions at age 55.
And the other thing they do is they do what's called backloading. So if your salary is $80,000, in your final year, you bank all your vacation time, your personal time, your sick days. So your last year is maybe $40,000 more. It's 120. And since your pension is based on your final year and 80% or 90%, you end up with a pension that far exceeds your largest salary. That's absurd. You know, Arthur Berman, who's a state senator from Chicago, he has a pension of $203,000 a year, and he never had a job in government that paid more than $70,000. Wow. He banked several government jobs into several pensions. We should not allow multiple pensions. We should cap them. We should prohibit this backloading. And more importantly, at a time of pension crisis, why are we allowing cost of living raises to the top pension earners? Jim Thompson, who's a partner at one of the most prominent law firms.
This thing is full of all kinds of aberrations.
Jim Edgar, who I admire in a lot of ways, and I'm not putting Jim Edgar down as
he's on easy street.
But he's getting a pension of $130,000 a year. He's also working for the U of I for $70,000 a year.
And you'll get another pension out of that.
And should you be able to start collecting your pension when you still have a government salary? I say probably not. One or the other.
He'll pile them up.
So these are the abuses that sticker shock.
Reform. Our legislators really were not responsible.
Carol, we came real close this time.
I know, this past
real
week.
close.
I know.
And
absolutely.
you know one of the benefits of sticker shock? Actually, the pension reform bill that didn't get passed but should have in May and the fall actually put the biggest pension hit on elected officials. They were so embarrassed by some of those numbers that when they put together the reform package, they were going to end up paying the biggest increase into the pensions of any single group. They were going to go from 11% of salary to 25%. So at least there was a little built-in justice here.
Yes.
But of course, the pressure against the reform, mostly from the public employee unions,
it is totally
made it impossible.
inadequate.
It just didn't pass.
You know, every time the education system gets in trouble, they go into a reform thing. They're going to reform it all. They never come up with anything more than a distraction or what I'd call an amelioration.
How about a Band-Aid?
Yeah.
You know what, though? We need to move it one way.
It's in trouble, so, we'll have new math. We'll all correct it. So they divert attention away on some trivial thing that they know will never happen anyway, and so the real reform never happens. They're still in that mode.
Well, I'll tell you, there was some significant education reform this session, but that's for a different conversation. I know you disagree that it was very significant.
That was a
but it was a
great
little more,
example.
It was better than new math, but it was only about a quarter of the way.
It was still nothing but amelioration. I mean, these guys are squirting water on a doghouse while the whole mansion is burning down. There wasn't anything to that worth talking about.
Is that another one of your wife's lines?
No.
We won't tell a couple of the more colorful ones, right, about running for office.
No.
Not on a radio
That can't
show.
get back to home.
There you go.
Well, we need to start somewhere, and clearly our legislators need to start taking some action and initiative. And I'm looking forward to, when we come back from the break, the website for the Better Government Association has a great watchdog center and an advocacy center. And Andy, we're going to
I'll tell you about those two. That'd be great.
It's going to be really great. But meanwhile, we will be. Do you have a couple seconds to talk about the Watchdog Center? Because I think we have about another 5 seconds before we have to actually shoot off here.
Well, in simple terms, we train regular citizens in how to keep an eye on government, what the Open Meetings Act means, how to file a FOIA, how to challenge a FOIA rejection, how to be our eyes and ears so that we can investigate. And I'll be more specific after the break.